Hello and welcome to the MotoGP Fantasy Preview Live for round 14 of the 2023 MotoGP World Championship here for the Japanese GP. They're all the way over in Motegi this weekend, and it's certainly going to be a big weekend in the title chase. After last time in India, the first ever Indian Grand Prix, the championship gap closing up to just 13 points between Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin, with Marco Bezzecchi 44 behind as well, also closing in on the reigning world champion. So it's certainly going to be an interesting one as we head to Japan this weekend, a place where last year Pecco crashed out on the last lap. But that's enough of MotoGP, because this week on the MotoGP Fantasy Preview, we have a local hero that was on the podium there last year in Motegi. So Ayumu Sasaki joins us all the way live in Japan, and we'll bring him now. Ayumu, hello, good to see you. How are
Hi,
you?
very good, thank you. Back at home and happy to be here.
Very good. That's something I actually wanted to ask. I imagine that you don't really get home to Japan much throughout the year. How often do you actually manage to go back to Japan?
Once a year. Normally I come back for this MotoGP and sometime I come back for Christmas. So yeah, let's say 2 times. But yeah, it's been a long time since I came back last time, so it's good.
Well, it's good. I can imagine it's very nice for you to be back in Japan, and of course Motegi, somewhere where last year you were on the podium and had a really strong weekend. Of course, this year you're locked in a title battle in Moto3, just 1 point behind the top two on level points in the championship. So I imagine this weekend feels like quite a big weekend for the 2023 season.
Yeah, as you guys know, the championship is very close. We are second, we're second in the championship. Yeah, coming to this weekend, we know we are strong here. Last year we finished on the podium. So the goal is to, of course, try to win the race. Try to give a good race to the home fans and yeah, deliver a good result.
We just wanted to ask you about the last race as well, Ayumu, because of course it was the first ever Indian GP. Last time out, a new track, new culture for everyone to experience. Just how was the weekend overall?
It was very hot. That was the, let's say, not biggest issue, but biggest challenge, to be honest. But everything went well. I'm a little bit disappointed about the race. Still, we finished on the podium. Um, I didn't expect to have a problem that I had in the front end. Beginning of the race, I was comfortable sitting second. I was thinking that I can fight for win there. So it's disappointed that in the end we dropped back to third. But in terms of point, it was good. We know what was the problem, so we hopefully we can solve that problem here in Japan and try to fight for a win.
Well, fingers crossed to you, Mid, that hopefully that does happen this weekend. Of course, it'll be your first win of the season, so hopefully it can happen
Yeah,
on home soil. Now, Ayumi, we do have a
thank
little
you.
job for you to do. We, of course, need you to
Yeah,
help us choose our MotoGP fantasy team. So we'll bring that fantasy team in now. And, of course, we've already had a quick look at it, and we know that we're going to need to take Luca Marini out. But we do
yeah.
have Luca Marini, Maverick Vinales, and Gold Riders. And then in our silver riders, we have Marco Bezzecchi and Miguel Oliveira, with our constructor Ducati and the team Mooney VR46 racing team. So some good choices across the board. Of course, Marco Bezzecchi, a
Hmm.
rider on fire at the moment. Maverick Vinales, you never know when he could turn up and just blow everyone out the water. Um, so, Ayuma, before we even look at some of the prices of the other riders, just coming to this weekend, who do you think is going to be the riders that are those standout top performers?
I think I'm gonna say Martin can replace Marini on the gold.
Well, we'll have to
Um,
see if we have enough money for him first,
if
because
we
he's quite
can,
expensive. Um,
yeah,
how much it is? Jorge Martin is 4.3 million. We would only have 3 million if we took Luca Marini out, because we only have 400,000 salary left.
okay.
Um, if you wanted to, you could take two riders out at once, and that would give you a bit
Yeah,
more salary to play with.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna take out Miguel as well, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. So let's remove Marini and Miguel. It gives us 5.7. That wouldn't leave us with a lot of salary, but let's have a look, because we can always play around with
Yeah,
this. So Jorge Martin goes in. We only have 1.4 left. Now, that's not going to be too many options, but you never know. You might get
Mm.
a decent. Oh, Joe Mir is only 1 million actually, because of course he's had a bit of a difficult season. But last time out, there was a real improvement from Honda and Joan in particular, so he could come in. We would just miss out on Raul Fernandez. There's Paul Espargaro at 1.3 million. Take Nakagami is 1.3 million. And I think Dijan Antonio will be the last of the regular riders on there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so I can change only two, right?
Yeah, only two, unfortunately.
Uh, Maybe we can keep Miguel. No.
Okay.
We can keep um. Can I see the price on the top? Yeah,
Yes.
2.3.8.
It's a little bit
How
tricky.
much was Miguel?
Miguel was 2.7, I believe. Let me just go find it. Yeah, he was 2.7.
Okay, let's bring back Miguel and
Okay.
take out Bezeki.
Let me just refresh this to get the initial. So let's. What did you say? Take out Miguel. Sorry.
No, take out Bezeki,
Oh, take out
Marco
Bezeki.
Bezeki,
Okay. And
and
then
Marini. And Marini.
Marini. Yeah. And then who do you want to bring in? Jorge Martin?
Yeah.
Jorge Martin. So he comes in. We'll put him in gold for now. And then we have 2.5 million
And
left.
I will put Fabio. 2.6.
We would just miss out by
Ah,
100k.
okay.
There are plenty of other good
Um,
options. There's Mark at 2
yeah,
million.
yeah.
Um,
We have 2.6, right?
2.5. Yeah, 2.5. You just see that.
2.5. Okay. So we're gonna go.
It's tricky. Who is there? There's Mark.
I
Joao
think
Mir.
Mark Marquez.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
Mark Marquez.
Why not? He was on pole position here last year, wasn't he? So
Yeah.
certainly not a bad option. Now that has actually switched. So this is another thing we can do, Ayumu. We can change the order of the riders. So if you want to have Jorge Martin in gold in place of either Mark or Maverick, we can do that. And that would obviously mean that Jorge would score 100% points rather than 50%.
Um, I
Tricky
think like
decision.
this is good.
Yeah, like this is okay. Okay, not
Yeah,
bad.
because maybe it's more likely Martin will be in front anyway,
Hmm. They do
and
say
we
it's
will be
not a bad
surprised
idea. Go
Yeah,
on, Ayumu.
if Mark, if Mark win the race, it will be amazing. So
I
let's keep
mean,
it this way.
yeah, the way he rode last weekend, it was very likely he could have been on the podium. So I'm sure in Japan,
Yeah,
definitely a good chance of it. So okay, that is the changes we can make. So let's talk a little bit more about the Moto3 Championship, because obviously this year
yeah,
it's a very very close title fight between yourself, Jama
yeah.
Masi, and Daniel Holgado, and there's other riders behind. When it's like that, because we know how intense Moto3 races can be, what's kind of going through your head? Are you thinking about kind of how this race will affect the championship, or is it more just I need to make sure I'm at the front of this pack at all times?
I think first thing that you focus on is that make sure you're competitive
Yep.
and make sure that you can score um, minimum podium. I think that's the target you always set. And of course, we have 6 more races to go. I don't remember.
7, I believe.
7. Yeah, 7
Yes.
more. And still everything can happen. So for me, it's just focusing on yourself, that you always have to be on a podium minimum, and the other riders, of course, Masia is in a good shape. Hurgado is always there. The rest of the ride, I'm not too worried about, but of course, I think the first in the two guys first in the championship, they are definitely the ones. I think at the moment Masia is a bit stronger than Hurgado, but definitely the one that look for. But other than you look for other people, you have to look for yourself. So I think main focus is on yourself, and try to be as fast as possible and score podiums.
Well, that's something that you've done a lot this year. I think you've only been off the podium 4 times when you finished the race, so certainly no problem in that area this year, Ayumu. We just wanted to quickly ask you about the Motegi circuit as well. Of course, for
Yeah,
Motor3 machines, many circuits can seem quite big, but Motegi is a little bit of a smaller one. Is it
mm,
a bit more different to the usual tracks you go to? Or is it a little bit tighter, or what's it like on the Motor3 bike?
it is different. It has quite few straight because we have straight and we have one like turn one and turn two, which is like one corner, and then we have another straight, and we have turn three and four, and we have another straight. So, um, it's quite it's tricky though, because the track is not one. It's like turn one, turn two is like two shape, two
Yep.
corners, and it's kind of different. Like you have to take different lines. It's difficult to go fast. So I would say it's one tricky track. But it's nice to ride. I like it, and the grip level is not so bad here. So I think it helps as a rider too.
Lastly, Ayumu, just before we let you go, we like to ask all of the guests that come on for the fancy preview to predict the podium for Sunday in the MotoGP class.
Yeah.
A little bit difficult, but I know that you've already said about Mark that if he maybe wins. Who do you think will be on the podium on Sunday?
I would say Pecco will come back here in form, so I would put him first. And I'm gonna put Fabio for second. He got podium last time, and I think he's in a good shape. So I put him second and Max third.
Okay, interesting. Obviously, it's going to be a big
Yeah.
weekend. Pecco does need to bite back in the championship, so we'll see how that one rolls out. And of course, Ayumu, good luck this weekend. Thank you very much for
Thank you
coming
so
on.
much. Thank you.
Have fun this weekend and enjoy it, and
Thank
hopefully
you
we'll
so
see
much.
you on the podium on Sunday as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayumu. Ciao. Okay, so this is going to be Ayumu Sasaki's MotoGP Fantasy team for this weekend. He's brought in Marc Marquez, certainly not a bad option after last time with how Marc rode and also the race before as well in Misano. So Marc Marquez comes into gold and Maverick Vinales stays there. We'll see how the Aprilias go this weekend. Of course, a little bit of a grippier track here in Motegi, so we'll see how that plays out with the Aprilias, but Maverick Vinales will be quick anywhere we go to this season. In Silver Riders, Jorge Martin comes in place of Marco Bezzecchi. Of course, Jorge Martin is the closest championship rival to Pecco Bagnaia at the moment, so we'll see how that goes because Jorge really is the man with the momentum at the moment in the 2023 title chase. And Miguel Oliveira stays in, who so far has been doing a pretty fine job on his Aprilia since his return from injury. The constructor, of course, as always, remains as Ducati, and the team Uni VR46, I think they are still leading the team's championship, so certainly not a bad one to go for. Now, if you haven't played MotoGP Fantasy just yet, you can sign up anytime. Just head to fantasy.motogp.com. One little incentive for you to sign up now is that if you go to the Leagues tab at the top of the Fantasy website, you'll see that there is a MotoGP Flyways League that we've recently joined. We've added the points in now, and so far at the minute, it is Gas v Racing that's at the top of that one. Now, whoever finishes at the top of this league at the end of the season will win a GoPro Hero 12 Black and 2 Grand Prix tickets, grandstand tickets, I should say, to a Grand Prix next season of their choice. So certainly not a bad one to go for at all. So there's actually quite a big gap at the top there, which is quite surprising, almost 25 points. So a good handy advantage after the first round of that one. So that's going to be it then for the fantasy preview here for Japan. It's going to be a big weekend. We're on the second leg of a back-to-back between here and India as well. With 7 rounds to go, the title chase is definitely hotting up. 44 points between the top 3 in the championship. And of course, those other 2 in the championship are Jorge Martin and Marco Bezzecchi on satellite Ducatis. There hasn't been a satellite winner since Valentino Rossi when he won the championship back in 2001. So we'll see how this one plays out as we go down the road. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy the action this weekend.